Hello everyone, glad to have you back. Over the last year I have uploaded weekly shorts, each one featuring a character in the F-Zero universe. I didn't plan that it would take exactly 1 year, and to be honest, I kinda cheated a little. Neither Hyper Soda nor Berserker are really unique characters, and Mr. Zero isn't even a pilot, but as I got closer to the end, I thought about adding those two because they are pilots and climax, and Mr. Zero as a bonus because he's a well-known character. What you may have noticed is that I only made shorts about playable characters. That is mainly because with some side characters there is basically nothing I could talk about, and if I made videos on the few that actually have lore, I kinda also have to make videos about the others, so you get my problem. Pretty early on I decided to make a video covering every character that didn't make it into the shorts. Because this is also a full video, I am not limited by the 60-second time limit, so the few characters that have more than a single sentence have their time to shine today. But there are a few rules. First of all, as with all of my lore videos, this is gonna be split into multiple parts. First the main timeline, then the anime timeline, and then the other characters. This will make sense once we are there, trust me on this one. Since we are focusing on the main timeline first, we need to answer a single question. When is a character important enough to be mentioned here? I have allowed myself to be a bit vague here since there aren't many missing characters in this timeline, so let's just say they deserve a spot in this video if they are somewhat relevant and more than a character you see in the background or something. With that out of the way, let's hear it one final time. Every character in the F-Zero universe. We're gonna start right at the beginning with the comic The Story of Captain Falcon, which provides us with two somewhat relevant characters, those being Scalehead, who was a criminal hunted by Captain Falcon, and this unnamed man who has been theorized by some to be an early concept for Don Genie, but honestly, I don't think so, just a tiny similarity, that's it. We're gonna skip X and Maximum Velocity since neither of those games provide any meaningful characters. GX gives us quite a lot actually, but it's a bit more complicated than that. GX mentions quite a few characters in the pilot profiles, more specifically in the machine information. But other than a name, we don't have much. For more, we need to look deeper. There exists more detailed machine lore which is sadly hidden in GX. The only way to see those is in AX by either using one of the machines available there, or by saving another non-custom machine to a memory card and using it in an AX machine. These descriptions exist for all machines and provide some more information. Thankfully, every single one of these has been collected over on the F-Zero Facts wiki or in the F-Zero machine lore document, which are both linked below as always. Some of these give us some extra content to some characters, but not all of them. The characters mentioned in GX or in this hidden lore are the ones you see on screen now. All of them are ship designers, some also serve an extra purpose, but they are all very light on all the lore stuff. With those out of the way, there is one more character, or rather a group of characters that is still missing. The creator or creators. They describe themselves as one being, but they are obviously three entities, so who knows for sure. What we do know is, well, nothing. They created Deathborn, who they consider to be their finest creation, but if they are supposed to be the creator, doesn't that mean they created everything? That's a bit complicated, and honestly, they aren't that interesting anyway. I mean, this godlike being gets destroyed by a simple bounty hunter, so what can they even do? With the anime characters, it's a lot easier to set rules. First, they have to have a name. I don't want to talk about Unnamed Character 3. If they don't have a name, they probably aren't important anyway. But of course, there are two exceptions to this. There's also another thing. Next to having a name, they also need to meet one of my two conditions. They appear in more than one episode, or if they only appear in a single episode, they have to be somewhat important to the plot of the one episode they appear in. That means that characters only seen briefly will not be mentioned, so characters like Alias' mother, Bibiribitch's crew, or any of these will only be mentioned here, so if anyone happens to like one of them, they simply aren't important enough, I'm sorry. And now let's finally get to the characters, starting with Samurai Gorohs group consists of Sasuke, Hakun, Chensai and Tsukikage, and I'm 100% sure I mispronounced every single one of those names. All four of them are very minor characters who usually appear in the background whenever Samurai Goro is on screen. With the exception of Sasuke, none really get any time to shine anyway. All of them seem to have their own unique weapon. Sasuke usually uses a whip, Hakun has a staff, Tsukikage uses a boomerang, and although we never see him use it, Tensei is equipped with a sword on his back. Personality-wise, there really isn't much to say about any of them. Sasuke is the only one who has enough screen time to really be mentioned here, but even she isn't really noteworthy enough for that, so I can't say much except they are all loyal to Samurai Goro. Bibiribitch is another space pirate in the anime universe. At first he claimed to be Samurai Goro, which really didn't end well for him. He appeared once more when Soda set out the bounty on Lisa Brilliant, but he was blinded by his greed to see that he is actually just a tool for Soda. He makes one final appearance for just a very brief moment where we see him together with Lisa, which probably means that he and his gang are now working for her. Bibiribitch is a greedy individual. He first impersonates Samurai Goro to claim his fame, and then he blindly follows Soda's 100 million credits bounty. Neither of those things end well for him. He has somehow redeemed himself by working for Lisa now, but maybe it could also be some sort of punishment for him, especially considering it is Lisa who he is working for now. Alias is a young F-Zero fan with an unknown illness, which is a plot point in episode 4. He appears a few times and seems to be friends with Clank. Sometime after episode 10 he had a heart surgery after promising to overcome his fears to Ryu and Roger. In episode 36 he and Clank find a diary which belonged to Haruka in the past. It is unknown how he got a hold of it, so we can only speculate. If I had to guess, I would say he may be a distant relative of Rose, another character we will talk about in a moment, but we have no confirmation about that. This is Gordon, Kate Allen's manager and also a friend of John Tanaka. In his first appearance he seems to be very worried about Kate's safety. Other than that, we don't really see or know much about him. The police chief is one of the two unnamed characters in this video. He manages to appear multiple times, so he is somewhat important, and I think it's fine to talk about him. From the few times we see him, he mostly spends time in his office, but he sometimes watches the Elite Mobile Task Force's races. We don't really know anything else about him. He doesn't seem to be too interested in what the Elite Mobile Task Force does, especially since John Tanaka is actually the one in charge of that group. After being freed in episode 39, he also undoes all the changes done by Blood Falcon, and he also promotes the entire group. Dream and Truecome, or Torkamu, only appear in a single episode, but they are important to the plot of that episode. Dream is the daughter of Robert Catherine, who is the president of the Catherine Consortium. Dream ran away from her home because her father chose someone to marry her, which she didn't agree with. Soon after arriving in Mute City, she met Truecome, which resulted in love at first sight. Dream did not agree with Truecome's dealings within the Bloody Chain gang, telling him that she cares about how he treats her and not about the money he gets from working with the gang. Until the end of episode 7, Truecome was a member of the Bloody Chain gang, and he was also responsible for the missing pirates. Michael Chain threatened him if he didn't comply, he would lose his house and possibly even Dream. Through Dream he realized that he doesn't need his house or money to be with her, so he had a change of heart. Even though Truecome wasn't the man chosen by Dream's father, he accepted it and the two could eventually marry. Anthony Ropkin is a close friend and rival of Silver Nielsen. In 2132, Anthony suffered from an accident shortly after Silver. Anthony's accident was seemingly worse since he was put into cold sleep without Silver's knowledge. In 2202, Anthony was woken up again, and he started competing in races. He performed quite well, winning the races that the Elite Mobile Task Force didn't participate in. He eventually managed to meet Silver, and the two caught up on old times. His old machine is the anime's vision of an old F-Zero machine, which is actually quite cool looking. In the present he uses this, which is just a red golden fox, so... The Red Fox? There is no official name, so make up your own. The Takoran Colonel is the other unnamed character, but like I explained before, they are kinda important to the plot of episode 24. One thing that immediately stands out is the fact that his eyes are more human compared to the other Takorans. Probably just a design choice and nothing else. Like the others of his species, he sees Octoman as a hero, and he seemingly believes Octoman's stories about beating Captain Falcon and such. And even though Octoman only manages to win by sheer luck, the Colonel and the others all celebrate Octoman's victory. O'Donnell was James McLeod's former military comrade who sacrificed himself to allow James to escape from the battlefield. O'Donnell's death and the fact that they were abandoned by their own troops resulted in James' general cold and emotionless demeanor in the anime. Just like James McLeod, O'Donnell is a reference to Star Fox. This time it's supposed to be Wolf O'Donnell, who is actually supposed to be an enemy instead of an ally in the Star Fox franchise. And because I know someone will mention it, there are more Star Fox references in the anime, mainly those two, Pigma, Dengar and Peppy Hair, who are named and designed after these two, but they are not more than just the drawings seen at the end of the episode. Despite only appearing in a single episode and generally having light lore, Rose manages to be one of the most important characters in the anime. Rose was a friend to Ryu and Haruka. She introduced the two to each other and is basically the reason Ryu and Haruka are in a relationship. Rose tried to get Haruka to not do something stupid after Ryu's accident, but as we know, that warning didn't work. Rose only realized this after it was too late. She found Haruka's diary and her final message, in which she wrote that she wanted to defeat Ryu's enemy. Like I said before, the fact that Alias has Haruka's diary creates a connection between him and Rose. There is certainly a possibility that Alias is related to Rose, and I personally believe that is the case. There are a few more characters, but it's probably gonna sound very stupid, but I don't know how many. I have already talked about F-Zero and then to the Gorohs of Speed in this video. Back then I already explained that I have no clue what's going on in this book since there is no translation. Yes, I could sit here and translate every single page through Google Lens, but I don't care how good it is supposed to be. Proper translation is always gonna be better than this. I already went through all the images in the book in the past, and there surely are a few characters, but as I said, I simply can't tell you anything about them. For that, we just have to wait until it gets a proper translation, if that even happens. And then there is one more. One character I have wanted to talk about for a while now, but I never got to that point until now. This is quite a big topic, so as much as I dislike doing this, you will have to wait until the next video to find out who this character is. Trust me, it all makes more sense once you see who that character is. And now I can finally say I am done with every character in the F-Zero universe. The pirates, side characters, gods and whatnot. I really hope you enjoyed this video and the shorts that started this whole thing. I have more shorts planned, but about different topics. I have a stupid idea for another series, but that's all it is for now, an idea. But that's all for future me to decide. For now, I will get to work on the next video, which should be done in late March. Until then, have a good one. Bye.